Hi all, my name is Henry, this is Tuonela Crafts, and welcome to my video about 3D printing some ruins.
Whoa, okay, I messed it up already. This video is not that much about printing the ruins, it's about painting the ruins. So let's get some happy crafting music going on, and let's get straight to it.
3D printing is a cool technology where you can use 3D models to print out basically anything. And this time we are doing some ruins for the Warhammer gaming, or anything else that's kind of tabletop games. The basic thing is that you have a 3D model that you print with using a 3D printer. In my case, it's Creality CR10. You can find free models in various places, but I got mine on Thingiverse. Models was made by Biancaw. You can find the link in the description. I did have to do some minor modifications. If your printer has decent settings already, then the print itself doesn't really need that much any extra work to be done. For my models, I didn't do anything except some adjustments so they fit better together, but no sanding or anything like that. If you have trouble getting your printer to set up correctly, you can find support groups on Facebook and Reddit. Those are really helpful, use them to find out some cool tips and tricks. For this one I got some board for the base from actually an old picture frame. Just cut it out, sanded it a bit to make the edges a bit more smoother. For attaching the parts to the board and to it themselves, I use super glue. And for additional structure you can use always metal pins. Drill holes and use metal pins so they will hold a lot more. When everything was glued on its place, I put some PVA glue on the edges of the ruin and put some rougher sand in there. And I like to use a bit rougher on the edges and more finer on the ground itself. It could be even a lot more rougher than what I used, but that's what I got. Then just use some old brush to first distribute the glue evenly in there, and after that just pour the sand in. And use the paper beneath your model so you can just tap all the excess that hasn't stick into the ground and pour them back in to the container or back where you have your sand to be able to use it again. Then I used some old drink coasters that I had and I teared some parts out of it and used that as bigger parts representing stone and metals in the ground. Also, never toss away your failed prints that have at least completed to a certain point, because you can always use those for ruins in the ground, and that's what I did here. I did some pillars and all that stuff in the ground to make it, just to get some debris in there. Then I did a quick base coat with Army Painter's gunmetal. You can use either a brush or airbrush as well for this. Airbrush would be really cool, so you can at the same time you can get the gunmetal for the ruins, but also the ground with different color straight away, and that really makes things easier. I think the easiest way for beginner is to go with the spray. When you are spray painting a model, just remember to keep a distance at least 15 centimeters from the model and start always the spray outside of the model and bring it in. Never start straight to the model, it easily gets clogged up and too much paint in there. But like when you're 3D printing and you're doing this kind of models, it can be helpful to put a bit too much paint in there, because that also clogs up the layers that can be visible after printing. After the metal, I painted the ground with heavily watered down silicone wrap. The idea of that is to, if there's anything showing through the sand, which we will applying later, it will show the ground color instead of the metal that was sprayed on. After that we do the washes with inks. I used Nuln oil to first give it a lot more contrast with deeper parts and recesses. I used hair dryer to speed up the process of drying the paint. Just be careful with washes, because washes are so watery. When you blow them with the hair dryer, they can easily go into unwanted places and thus ruin the model. And after the Null oil is done, we turned into Aqua's Earthshade, which gives the model a nice, really nice, this kind of a naturalistic feel to it. Also adding already that color of rust in there. This really ties up the whole thing with the ground, in my opinion. If you're doing a bigger parts of terrain, I really highly suggest that you do your own washes. I can do a separate video on those if you want to. You can also find a lot of videos on YouTube how to do them, but it really saves you money. After that, just use PVA glue, basing glue into the base, all the places where you want the sand to go. Put the paper under, just pour in the sand. The sand I'm using right now is actually gathered from my friend's parents' yard about maybe 15 years ago, and I still have a lot of it. It works well, it's finally nice and rough, but also there's smaller parts and bigger parts. It's quite naturalistic look to it. Just use some old hard brush to get the excess sand away from the parts that you don't want them to be. You can leave the sand as it is. I decided not to paint it this time, which is a bit of a dumb thing to do, because I noticed that I have painted the once before. Then I used Riser Rust to do some extra rusting to the walls. For this I used the dry brushing technique. The dry brushing technique is basically that you take brush, you take a color to it, and you wipe it to a paper as long as there is no more, almost at all, paint coming out. Then you start brushing away quite hardly and fastly to the direction that you want the paint to go. The idea is that the paint only sticks to the highest surfaces, and but also remember to go a bit to the deeper area and paint it there. For us, the direction was from up to down, because it shows like the rust is coming down from the recesses, and it looks really realistic in that way. For the snow, we diluted some PVA glue with water and used an old brush to distribute the glue wherever I want the snow to be. And after that I used Army Painter's Basing Snow and just poured it in all the places. But before that, remember to get all the excess sand away, because when you pour all the excess snow, you don't want it to be contaminated with the sand, so you can just pour it back in with the snow container that you have. And with this, the model is pretty much ready. It's definitely ready for the battlefield. You can always do little things here and there, but this looks really cool. It's really easy to do, really fast to do. I might be still doing some platforms in the higher parts. It kind of works really well for models to stand. Thank you for watching. Here's some videos of these ruins and how they look when used with models. I really appreciate you watching the video. I hope to see you soon again with another videos. Please do send me requests on what to do next. I'm at least planning on doing only contrast version of painting Skavens and Orcs. Those are something that will be coming next. The whole plan is to do a video where I only use contrast. When that's ready, I will up the game with layering, so you can see how you can up your own game when it comes to models in your tabletop games. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. I hope to see you again, and remember to check out my other social media. Have fun, stay safe, and see you in the void.